I'm Matt Thomas with Baird& Warner Real Estate, and I help buyers, sellers, and investors accomplish their goals in Chicago every single day. And this video was inspired by a pretty incredible conversation I had with my peers about the value real estate agents bring to the table, and maybe more importantly, how many consumers don't actually dig at or figure out that value before they start working with us. So in today's video, we're going to break down the top 5 questions you should be asking any real estate agent when you interview them for your business. When we're selling a home, more often than not, we're going to call multiple resources and interview multiple realtors to make sure we're getting the best deal possible and the best representation possible. It makes sense. You're putting up a relatively significant amount of money to pay those agents involved in the transaction. You want to be sure that you're getting the best representation possible. The crazy thing is, on the buy side of the transaction, everybody seems to skip this step of the process, myself included. Before I got into real estate, when I was looking to move or when I was looking for even a tenant's agent, I just kind of took the first referral I got. It was like a friend of a friend, or maybe someone my cousin loosely knew, or like my mom's hairstylist happened to recommend somebody. That's how many people get their buyer's agent referral, and they don't call anybody else to see if there's better representation out there. Now listen, I'm not dissing your mom's best friend who happens to be a real estate agent. What I am saying is you should take the steps to do due diligence with your buyer's agent, because ultimately, this person is responsible for representing you through what might be the largest purchase in your entire life. So you want to get that right. It's perfectly justifiable for you to have questions about that person as a professional, how they do your job, how they're going to represent you, how they're going to make life easier. So let's go through the questions you should ask in that initial interview with any buyer's agent. The first question you should ask any agent is, do you do this full-time or do you do this part-time? There's really no comparison. An agent who is doing this in the evenings or moonlighting or on the side of another job cannot commit to you the level of attention that a full-time agent can. It's really simple. If they're working a certain number of hours during the day, and let's say you want to schedule a showing during those hours, chances are good it's not going to work for them. They probably have a boss. They probably have hourly commitments. They can't just walk away and answer the phone when you need something. Let's say that you happen to find a home, get under contract, and make it that far. Now you're in the important stages of going through inspection and attorney review, and things happen quickly and can go wrong quickly. Do you really want to be waiting for your agent to get back to you after 5 when they're done with their full-time job? This is a really tricky subject, and I'm not slamming anybody who does real estate on the side, because I think that's an extremely valuable license to hold, and if you do it right, you can do great business as a part-time agent. But in my opinion, if you have a choice between a full-time agent and a part-time agent, and you're asking me who would be the better representation through this process, the full-time agent, just by nature of their commitment, their focus, and their time of availability, is going to do a better job. Now, watch out for answers here. Agents obviously know the right answer is full-time. So you'll say, hey, are you a full-time agent? Oh yeah, I do this full-time. I would ask some follow-up questions. Maybe, what is your availability to show during the week? Do you work weekends? If I need to contact for you something, what's the best way to get in touch with you? And how long does it generally take you to respond? You can glean a lot from these answers, and unfortunately, you might have to figure it out just from communicating with them a little bit. If you're making a phone call and they're not calling you back for a day or two, yeah, they probably have something else going on other than your real estate transaction. It might sound silly, but unfortunately in this marketplace in particular, when things are so competitive and missing the ability to show one day can literally mean you don't get the chance to bid on a home, choosing the wrong agent or choosing an agent that isn't making themselves as available as possible to get you into the homes you want to see can cost you the home of your dreams. The next question I would ask any agent you're talking with is, how well do you know the market and what is your primary focus? Frame this in the light of how well somebody knows their trade craft in the individual market that you're seeking to purchase in, right? So I dislike when agents start by saying, I've been doing this, insert X years. In my opinion, years of service does not indicate experience or quality of service. So I would much rather somebody start with a very specific answer on the market you're interested in, and watch for somebody who answers in the way that you like to receive information. If you're extremely data heavy, it would be interesting to you to work with an agent who knows the market stats for Lincoln Park. And you can feel comfortable asking them, hey, What's the median sale price for 2 beds in Lincoln Park? How long is the expected market time for sellers that are hitting the market in April? What do you think I should expect in terms of offers, and where will they be as a percentage of the original list price? These are calculated, complicated, and deep data dive questions, but an agent who is well versed in that marketplace will either know that data off the top of their head, or they'll at least have done their homework to have a conversation with you so that they can carry that type of conversation. If they can't, that's a red flag. Truthfully, if they don't understand how competitive Lincoln Park is right now, and they're not prepared to tell you that multiple offers are common and you might have to pay over list, your expectations might be set entirely wrong. You could come into every home lowballing and lose out on homes that you really could have made an offer on just because you didn't understand the market dynamics because your agent misguided you. So how will they know the market is critical? Maybe you're not data focused. Maybe you're really looking for somebody who is your local liaison. You want somebody who's going to guide you to pizza shops, coffee shops. You want somebody who knows where the dog parks are. You want somebody who just knows where the community meetings are and how to get involved. Yeah, that's a very specific type of agent. So if that's what you're looking for, you can ask those types of questions. How involved are you in this local community? Do you live here? Have you bought, sold, helped clients here in the past? And if so, how recently did you help them find housing here? These are all questions that kind of hone in on how well somebody actually knows the market you're going to be active in. The second part of this is asking them what their focus is. This is a big city. Chicago has single family homes. We have multi-units. We have commercial multi-units. We have condos. We have rentals. They all are different, and they fundamentally operate different when you're trying to purchase or acquire them. So it makes sense to partner with an agent that at very least has experience transacting the asset type that you want to transact. If you ask your agent to help you on the south side of Chicago with a 6-unit build and they tell you, hey, I've never worked in that neighborhood and I don't know that asset class, but I'm happy to try, it's up to you if you want to take a leap of good faith and help them get some business. But ultimately, there are probably better options out there, at least more experienced options, who can take you through that process with fewer headaches because they know how to do it. So ask the question, if you're buying a condo in Lincoln Park, how many condos in Lincoln Park have you sold before? Once I understand they know the market, my mind goes to negotiation approach. And the next question that I'd be asking is, what is your approach to negotiations? This is a relatively broad question, almost intentionally. I want to see what the agent fills in here. I know how I would approach a negotiation. You might have thoughts on how you would approach a negotiation, or maybe you don't at all. Maybe you're truly seeking somebody who will do that entire process for you because you don't want to think about it. That's valid too. I think finding an agent who can explain an approach that makes sense to you, that feels comfortable to you, and that seems like it will lead you to success is a valid thing to be looking for. What you're really trying to identify with the questions you ask about negotiating is how well your agent is going to represent your needs versus how much they're going to commit to trying to sell as quickly as possible and make a buck. Let's call it what it is. Some real estate agents are in this industry to make a quick dollar, and they see clients as the way to get there. There are others like myself who try to do great business and recognize that in doing so, we can grow a career and thankfully make a good living. But there's a fundamental difference in how you approach your business depending on where your mindset is at there. So if you meet with an agent and they're telling you that, listen, every home is going to go with multiple offers, you have to offer over list, you're going to have to wait inspections, you're going to have to offer as is, it's just how it is, accept it, I would take that as a major red flag. Those are all things that make getting a deal done easier, absolutely. But to say that you need to do them, I think that's flawed logic, and I think it's dangerous. You don't need to do anything. We're here to protect you through this process. Once you find a home that you love, if that is the home for you and those are the levers that need to be pulled at that time, we'll advise you on that. But you should not be taking advice from anybody who's driving you to make uncomfortable decisions, to compromise the goals that you came into this process with, or to go faster than you're ready to go. This is a big decision. It's a large financial investment. You should approach it at the speed that you're ready. Now, I take my grandfather's saying, take your time, but hurry up. This is a market that moves quickly. So if you are hesitating or dragging your feet, you probably will feel a little bit of pull from your agent just to make sure that you're not missing opportunities. But that's fundamentally different than somebody driving you to drive their paycheck. This fourth question is such a simple one, but many agents won't be able to answer it, and it's shocking. How will you make my life easier? That's it. I'm here to make your life easier through this process. I'm here to be an advocate for you at all turns, through the search, through the negotiation, through the home review and inspection, and ultimately at closing. My goal is to represent you, your needs, your goals, your objectives to the best of my abilities from start to finish. And along that process, I'm going to make it as easy as possible for you to engage with real estate. A great agent will have apps they can share to help you find homes that maybe aren't even on market yet. They'll have tools that'll make it easy for you to run a cost analysis on properties or maybe break down numbers, particularly if you're looking at investments. They'll have easy access to scheduling showings or easy access to their calendar so that you can get in touch with them. They'll be easy to communicate with so that when you have questions keeping you up at night, you know where to turn. Or maybe even better yet, they'll have so much information they provide you in advance, you don't feel like you have to ask questions because they've already thought about what would bother you. These are the types of things you want to be looking for in an agent. And to ask somebody, how are you going to make it easier for me to find a home? How are you going to make it easier for me once we go through the process of inspecting a home and working towards closing? Do you have resources and connections that will make this buying process easier for me once I focus in on a property? All of these are valid questions. They all focus on the same thing of making your life easier. Buying a home is at times difficult, it's complex, and it can be extremely frustrating, particularly if you're losing out on multiple offer situations on several different homes. We can't make everything perfect, but a great agent will be able to make that process as seamless as possible and eliminate as many headaches as possible along the way. Finally, let's end with the direct question you should ask any sales professional before you let them off the hook during an interview. Why should I hire you? This is far and away my favorite question. It's going to draw an uncomfortable reaction, and you might even have an awkward silence for a minute if the agent wasn't prepared to answer that question directly on the spot, although they should have been. But I think it's a really good opportunity for you to learn who you're working with. What motivates them? Why are they there? Why do they think that they should be your representative? Why do they believe that you should hire them over anybody else you could have called that also works in real estate? These are fair questions, and it's completely valid to have the agent justify them. For example, I get asked this question all the time, so I'll go ahead and answer it. Why would you hire me to be your real estate agent? I went into real estate because I felt compelled to work with people in a meaningful way. And I saw an opportunity to take some of the solution-based sales skills that I have and use them to help people accomplish one of the biggest goals in their life. I'm here to be your advocate from start to finish, to identify your objectives, your goals, your fears, your concerns, and to make sure that you feel comfortable through the process. We're not here for the path of least resistance. We're not here for the quick sale. I'm here to make sure that your goals and needs are taken care of at all times. I was raised with the fundamental belief that good business comes from understanding people and that people don't care what you know unless they know that you care. So everything I try to do is in service of my clients and in furthering and bettering their needs. And over time, I was fortunate enough to represent hundreds of buyers and sellers, investors here in Chicagoland, and through that, I gained a really deep insight to this marketplace, its challenges and opportunities, and how to best serve my clients to make them successful here. Once you find an opportunity that makes sense for you, I'll be your advocate to negotiate, to connect you with the right resources from inspectors to appraisers to attorneys to get you to the closing table. And ultimately, we're going to make sure you close on the home you want with as few headaches as possible. So with that said, I'd love the opportunity to work with you. That's what I got for you. That would be my answer on the spot. Truly and sincerely, I love what I do. I love servicing my clients, and my motivating force for taking on any new client in this business is to help them accomplish their goals. So if you're not getting that same vibe, or if you don't like the answer that you're getting from your real estate agent, that's probably a major sign that you should move on, interview somebody else, and there's probably a better fit out there. Hopefully this video was helpful. Don't be afraid to interview your buyer's agent. You should. They're going to represent you through a major transaction. You have every right to feel comfortable. What did I miss? If you have questions that you use when you're interviewing agents, or hey, agents out there, if you have questions you've been asked that you thought were really great in the moment, share them in the comments. This is a great way to make sure clients are getting quality representation. And I think the more we share, the more we educate everybody on this process, the better real estate transactions will be moving forward. Thank you. I'll see you next time.